We are live.
I can hear you live. That means I'm going to mute things. Ah. Wow, that looks like a beautiful day in Microsoft Flight Simulator land.
It is, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
gorgeous out.
I was just thinking I could go hunting in this weather. I don't know what they have for hunting in Spain, but
Deer, probably.
that's pretty standard. How you been doing, man?
I've been super busy at work. But good. Otherwise, I got a few irons in the fire with some stuff happening over the next month and a half here around the house, around at home. Some vacation time, some visit time. You know, stuff.
Right.
Things and stuff.
Yes, I know about some of that. Later on in the summer, at least. So.
Yes. I have vacation time confirmed for that, by the way, so...
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to work that out, because I forget if we... I forget the details, but...
Yeah, that's all good.
They're fine. It's far enough off. It should be good. For everyone that's like, what are they talking about? Well, I'm going to take one of these fancy planes and go see Jan.
He's not going to fly with me, though. He's not that brave.
Oh, I am that brave. I would do that.
Actually, I think at this point I would... Well, I don't know if I really would or not. Maybe.
Oh, what's happening with the camera?
I put my head on.
Oh, you're VR.
Well, track IR.
Put your brain on.
I put my brain on, yeah. So I installed, by the way, I just want the effort to be noted, I installed 24 gigabytes of Google rendered scenery for this area earlier today. So it will either look amazing or it will instantly crash. You know,
well,
it's the two outcomes.
I think I give you zero credit for that, because 24 gigs for you to install to try the smallest thing in Flight Simulator is nothing. Literally, I'll be like, hey, do you want to play games? And this dude's like, I got like 6 hours of prep to do for my 20-minute flight, so no. But I think people do appreciate that, though. That's your.
Well, I did a very quick test earlier just to make sure that it didn't just crash immediately. And it seemed okay. And it looks, I mean, the frames are going to be less than without that, but it looks quite spectacular, actually. So, like, Microsoft has done what they call photogrammetry of some areas and cities, to make it look nice. So it's not just AI generated based on satellite imagery, but it's actually scanned based on images and stuff like that. So it looks way more detailed, right? But people have been adding that in themselves of other areas, because there's tools, I guess, where you can essentially use like Google Earth or Google Maps, Google Earth, I think, and, render that into 3D objects that then appear in here.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah. So this is just going to be, I do have a flight plan, but we're just going to be kind of winging it for the most part along the coast. This flight plan that I have is like a whole loop, and it's quite a bit longer than what we have time for, but we're just going to fly until we get close to the end of the stream, and then we'll look for an airport to land at.
I mean, that's how I played.
Yeah.
So, like, you'd be like, well, don't you have to do this? I'm like, no, dude, when I want to go down, I point it at the ground.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to consult a map looking for an airport.
Yeah, no, I know, but I was just like, dude, I landed in a field.
Yeah.
In BC.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, is that thing gonna hit you?
I know I was convinced that it did, or was going to. I'm just looking around to see if there's anyone else around. I have real life traffic. Oh no, I have real life traffic, but I have it set on real time. So I'm gonna have to tweak this. Let's see if I can. Real traffic. Let's go.
I'm going to mute myself
back 12 hours.
Put a different headset on.
You bet. So we'll see if any real airplanes are going to join us here. This is a small airport of San Sebastian. Yeah, San Sebastian Airport, Lima Echo Sierra Oscar. And we're going to essentially take off into... we're going to fly along the coastline to the west towards Portugal. But before we do that, we're going to have a closer look at this brand new...
Hey, I can hear you.
Brand new, kind of. This is the Milvis C310 twin engine, and it's supposed to fly like really nicely, so it looks like it. It has lots of opening doors. One of the stock liveries is a Canadian one, so I decided to fly with that one, of course. It's just got a Canadian flag on there.
I missed a bit of what you were saying while I was switching headsets there.
I was just talking about how nice this plane is. It's a third-party aircraft. What's really nice about this one, this is kind of cool, and I feel like I'm going to keep doing this, is you can set this airplane. They have an option here called owned. I'm going to leave it at that, I think. So what that means is that it will simulate as if I actually own this airplane. Right? So not only will it accumulate wear and tear on the visual aircraft, but also the systems each time I fly it, and it will remember that. But it will also remember all the settings I left it at the end of a flight. The next time I fly this one, it will remember all that. So I either have to be really good at shutting everything down, or I have to be really good at checking everything before we start.
Yeah, it's going to result in problems for you.
They even have an initial state option called rental, where you just never know what state the previous pilot left it in, which is kind of neat. So I love the idea of this actually accumulating issues. So in fact, one of the very first things we need to do is to inspect the airplane, and you just do that through an iPad here, right? But I click inspect, and everything looks green. The oil supply on the right engine is a bit low, but I think that's fine. And I say this as somebody who has no real-life knowledge of mechanics. But I just know yellow is not that bad.
It has enough oil.
Well, I'm using the PMS 50 avionics suite. And the other thing I love about this is you can choose your passengers. So front right, we have a passenger, and if I look over here, there she is. Now I actually like the passenger seat empty on sightseeing flights so that I can have a better view. But why don't we fill the rear of the airplane with passengers? You can hear seatbelts clicking in. And then if I look back,
I can't, but yeah.
There's actually now, what do we got? 4 people on the back of this airplane.
Now does that affect the
weight?
Yeah.
Yes. And in fact, this
you can
one...
see that if that's a couple in the front there...
Yeah.
He's in the doghouse. If you take a second look at that, he is definitely, like, there's no way. Like, look at him. He's, like, staring off like he's in... you can tell. That's not... There's trouble there.
That's very likely.
Yeah.
What's cool, yeah, so it does impact the weight. So if I kick the guy out, the middle left, so this is the guy. Let's say, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't come with us. He weighs 200 pounds.
We don't have time for the drama here. So.
They also has a passenger comfort index. So depending on how well you fly the plane or how well you set the cabin temperature and stuff like this, comfort index goes up. It has no real impact on anything other than simulating, how happy or unhappy your passengers would be.
Okay.
So let's remove all the covers, get the airplane ready to go. Shut the doors. We'll keep this little window open here in the front, though, so we can hear the engines. Fuel. I don't know how much fuel we need.
When you start to run out, you just point the plane at the ground.
Yeah. Frack, I don't want to change my contacts. Would you put on special contacts when you watch me fly? Do you have, like, I don't know, altitude-friendly contacts?
Hey, Axeman.
All right, let's see. if I can get this plane started.
One of the things I quite liked about Microsoft Flight Simulator was just clicking buttons with the mouse. I liked it a lot. You know, it was nice.
Now, is it this?
I appreciate having a setup where you can touch your own buttons and make it work, but, you know.
I see. So if you go into bed, yeah, you better put in something clear. You're gonna want to see this scenery nice and clearly, Axeman.
24 gigs. He downloaded 24 gigs of scenery, apparently. So.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna totally bypass the checklist, even though this actually comes with really good checklists. Fuel tanks are set to the main tanks. Prop full forward, fuel full forward, and we're gonna throttles about an inch forward. Get the nav lights on and the anti-collision lights. Fuel pump will do as part of that, so we are going to turn on the right engine, I think, or maybe left engine magnetos, switch the prime pump to that engine, and then hold down the start button. I think I've got this all mapped in. Oh, it did nothing. There we go. And let's let her rip. Ooh, listen to that.
I don't hear it.
It should.
So.
Well, yes. And the fuel pump went too low, and then we're going to do the same for the right engine. And we've got two good engines. Shut that window so it's a little bit quieter. Now, a trick I saw, apparently the temperature control that the passengers like is about 40%. We'll see how they do with that. We'll check back with them in a little bit. There we go, Axeman. I put the controls back. Taxi lights on. We want some avionics, I think. Get rid of the iPad. We will just verify that we have the parking brake is set, so we can remove the wheel chocks, which probably should have been done before engine start. I don't know if anybody wants to crawl underneath the propellers to remove the wheel chocks. Still on personal blindness angle. Well, that's fine. At least you won't, maybe you won't see anything bad that happens. Not that anything bad's gonna happen. Now. Okay, good. Our map has got the flight plan in it. So we're going to take off in that direction. We'll just fly straight out. Can I actually... We'll set an altitude in the air. We will try to get the barometer synced, though. There we go.
Now, do you think if there was a plane flying and something happened to the captain and the pilot and the co-pilot, you know, just let's say they had bad sushi or something and they're in the back, and we needed someone to fly the plane, do you think there's a reasonable chance you would be the most qualified person on an average plane once you remove crew?
It's not hard to be the most qualified person of anything in any room these days. But
that doesn't mean you're a good pick, but I'm just saying. Like, you know.
I think so. I feel like I would have a pretty good understanding of what things mean in the cockpit, where things are and how things work. You know, it's kind of like, yeah. I think I could make that happen.
I think, yeah. If I was on a plane, I'd be like, "You're landing it, buddy." I don't care how you feel about it. Like, you're landing it. I think you could get us on the ground safely. Ish. You know?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, the plane's not going to be workable when you're done, but we're gonna get to the ground in a decent manner. So.
Yeah, nobody said anything about the plane still being. I mean,
Nor
at
do we
that
care,
point, you
because
just
that
want to
was
get.
the last time we were ever on a plane.
Yeah. You just want to
Like-
get down on the ground safely. That plane doesn't need to go anywhere for a while.
No, because we're not ever getting. No, if I ever experience like any kind of plane trauma, that's it. I'm done. After that, it's trains for me. I like trains.
Yeah, I do too. There's not enough trains around here. The country's too big.
You can take a train all the way across.
You can. I've actually considered. I've wanted to do that once. It's pretty pricey. If you get like a nice, sleeper cabin and stuff. All right, let's see if we can. Let's see if we can taxi to the end of the runway here. Because I don't really think we need to do much of anything else. We're not on VATSIM or any kind of ATC. We don't really care too much about that here. Get the strobes on, taxi lights off, landing lights on. Let's line ourselves up like we're not a drunk person. I find the gauge is a little flat looking for some reason. They don't seem like they're as bright as I would want them to be. Could just be the lighting too.
Yeah, when you tilted your head, it looks a lot better right now. But when your head was up more,
yeah, it's
the angle was not great.
It's darker, and it might just be the light. It might just be because of the way the sun's hitting the aircraft.
Yeah, I think you're right, because if you look at it like when kind of lean forward to look with those knobs on the left,
so
it looked fine.
I kicked the guy out, but I did add another passenger. We got a different one this time, so I don't even have to put up with people whose faces I don't like.
No, that's true. Although I think this is a good bunch.
This is a good crew, yeah.
Yeah. So he's in the airport right now, calling his parents and saying he got booted off the plane. And I think we're in for peaceful flight now.
Well, let's hope. Let's give it a whirl here. See if we can make this happen.
I really didn't like his energy. I felt like he was a problem. And I mean, listen, there's not enough room in this plane for fighting.
This is true. All right, and up we go, up we go.
Is that like hope or?
wow, this is super detailed scenery.
There's always a moment at takeoff, like when you, like the first like 5 seconds you're off the ground, when it just strikes me like, oh, we're playing for real now.
Yeah.
Like from that point on, it's got to be like virtually error-free. You know, when you're just kind of like running around on the runway, you know, you got a little wiggle room to screw things up. But as of right now, stakes are real.
Yep. No, there's definitely a point of no return. I mean, it literally is something pilots call out or program in first. Even when you're going down the runway, especially in a big plane, right? At a certain point, you can't stop safely before the end of the runway, so you have to take off. Doesn't matter if the engine's on fire. At that point, you're taking off.
Right, or you're in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Or an ocean. Like, yeah, you have to go up. Yeah. But like just as soon as I see the wheels come off the ground, and I look down and I'm like, okay, we're like 30 feet up right now. In that first couple seconds, it's like there is no getting back down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if anything goes wrong right now, that's your ass.
Yeah. Okay, so the photogrammetry definitely creates some mini stutters, but it is so detailed. I believe in July, the next sim update, they're going to introduce DLSS, which is going to be awesome, because that's really what the sim needs, is dynamic resolution scaling, right? And that stuff, so.
I mean, I just thought about how it's probably going to be broken.
Well, I mean, you're probably right, but don't say that.
I can't wait to see how it screws with all your apps. Your mods. It does look very nice, though.
Pull back on the
when you
RPM with
downloaded
that.
the scenery, is that something that's supported, or did you have to go through like a third party for that?
No, there's a third-party website, flightsim.to, and it's all freeware stuff there for the most part. There's some stuff that's payware, but this is free. So, you know, it's just a zip file you extract into the community folder. Like, that's one thing the simulator is actually really well set up for add-ons. Free add-ons. So it's definitely made with that in mind. It's actually, for people who play this on Xbox, it's a great title to play on Xbox, but they don't get any of the add-ons, right? Unless it's in the official marketplace, and there's a lot of stuff in the official marketplace, free and paid, but not nearly as much as in this, for the PC.
Yeah. That's the same thing with all PC modding. Like, I know there's folks that play.
This is so detailed.
I see this in the Fallout 4 community all the time, right? Like there's official mods and there's things that have been approved by Bethesda that you can get on PlayStation and Xbox, but like, you know, you know how it is. Like, there's the unofficial Fallout 4 patch, which is not on like console, right?
Right.
Doesn't want to, you know, but on PC it's like unplayable without it, so it's just kind of. I could see how, yeah, consoles are always going to have that limitation.
Yeah, the detail in this is incredible, though. I will say
it is very detailed.
If I could do without those that mini stutter I get every 3 seconds, that'd be great. But
yeah, I see that too. If it makes you feel better, sometimes my Rogers Ignite TV package. This is exactly the same stutter I get in Leaf games, and it makes me want to burn my house down. Like, you can imagine, like, I'm at like 7 p.m. my time, and I'm relaxing. I've had dinner, and I put my feet up, and I'm gonna watch the Leaf game, and then I get this stutter, and you can imagine my reaction.
Oh yeah, not a happy
Especially
time.
when you consider how much it costs for this stuff.
Right.
Axeman was not impressed with you, Jake.
Well, just because I didn't drop any bombs.
Or strafe any boardwalks.
Yeah. It's too stuttery. If I didn't have the stutters, then...
Now, is that stutter just because it's loading those files that you downloaded?
Yeah, exactly. It's texture size is really what it is, I think. Because each of those buildings has textures, and it just has to load the next batch that's coming into view, I guess. I'm guessing that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I think actually if I upgraded my RAM, that would alleviate that a bit. I'm at 32 gigs, but that's actually one time I think 64 could help. But I honestly think that DLSS will make a lot of those things better.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
If you sing, you can get around that. I doubt it, Axeman. I doubt it. I think if I sing, the game might crash.
Well, I would leave.
Yeah, or that. It's quite the beautiful coastline, though. Alright, let's see here. We have climbed up to like just over 3,000 feet. Let's turn on the autopilot, please. Which for some reason didn't work.
Yeah, Axeman, I remember the jump from 16 to 32 was quite noticeable. I mean, to be fair, that new PC that you helped me pick out in the parts for that I built. Like the PC that I'm giving up is still very good, but boy howdy, this is a good PC that I'm using now. It is noticeably better than the other.
You got a keyboard problem there with the extra N's on the keyboard?
Spain's pretty.
Yep. There we go. Got the autopilot trying to take me to, I guess it's close enough to 3,500 feet. And there's heading mode as well. Excellent. What's the passenger comfort level at the moment, I wonder? Status. Oh, they're not happy. The cabin is cold. It's too cold. Alright, let's crank the temperature up a bit here. Check back on that in a bit.
Wow. You know, Axeman, the most effective manner of cleaning a keyboard that I've ever found? Pipe cleaners.
Yeah.
And I also use rubbing alcohol, but pipe cleaners work perfectly for kind of like just sticking them between a row of keys and dragging it and whatnot through. And then usually I use rubbing alcohol to clean all the caps on the sides and on the top, and then I use compress. Well, then I give it the old bang against the desk as well, of course. You know, bang out whatever's in there, and then hit it with the compressed air for the quadruple approach. We're good.
I wonder why this is not. For some reason, I feel like this device of mine is not working. COM 5 did not respond in time. Error state. Okay, well that at least explains it then. Okay, I'm not crazy. It was working yesterday on the thing. Good thing I have redundant devices. Literally my home cockpit has redundant autopilot units, like 3 of them. Okay, so this is the other thing that's kind of cool. This plane, this is something I don't know much about, but they ever talk about like leaning the fuel mixture? And I think I can I, will this actually work? Yeah, okay, so if I lean the fuel mixture a bit, these gauges tell me the horsepower the engine's got. So I can kind of adjust it until I get the most horsepower out of it. Which doesn't seem to be very much. Oh, I might also have auto mixture on. I probably do. Hi. Oh, I guess we could also actually turn on nav mode. We don't need to fly by heading. We've got nav, but we need to tell it which nav? GPS.
Just checking. My next prime sub for Shacknews will be available in 8 days. Okay. Great.
Don't need defrost, but my passengers are apparently freezing their butts off still. Cabin is cold and steady. Well, trying to get it to warm up a bit.
They're just whining, to be fair.
I guess. It's a pretty smooth flight, though.
Are they wearing t-shirts back there?
Yeah, short. Well, the one guy's wearing a sweater, but I think it's the ladies. The ladies are wearing shorts and pretty thin-looking materials. People underestimate how cold it gets, even at 3,500 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, you came for a sight. I mean, hey, we sent them an email before this tour. It said it can get chilly. Please dress accordingly. They apparently, as most people in the world, as you know, they do not read.
Yeah.
It's a problem. Whether it's an article or an email, same thing. Don't read. Is that river disappearing into the mountain over there to your left?
Looks like it.
That's still a common thing, huh?
A little, yeah. So this actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. It's always tough to tell. Like, you'd have to literally fly right over there to see what the actual deal is. But this is a good opportunity for me to do some shack pets because I'm not.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop my challenges for the day.
Do you have both your cats in shack
I
pets?
have more than 2 cats.
Wait. Oh. Yes, 3, right?
Yes, I have 3 cats.
Sadie, Chuck, and Patches.
So Patches is Anne's cat.
Yes.
But I mean, they're all.
But they all,
cats.
yeah, they're. I mean, then yeah. And then do they all get along? I know that Sadie and
No.
Sadie gave. I mean, Chuck had to put up with a lot.
Well, so Sadie wants to play with Patches, and Sadie's way of playing is, she's almost 2, but she's still, in like adolescent, playful mode. So she likes to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Patches is like 20. She does not like to be tackled. So, there's no fights, like no proper fights. There's no hissing. Well, there is hissing, but there's no like.
No physical altercations.
There's a little swatting, and when Patches is moving around the house, like from one spot to another, sometimes Sadie will like chase after her and like kind of like jump on her, but she's like trying to play with her.
Mm-hmm.
And Patches will get mad and hiss at her and swat at her and stuff like that, and then we'll just have to go, Sadie! As soon as she hears us kind of like say her name loudly, wherever she is in the house, she will sprint up into the bedroom and sit in the bedroom. She knows that's her time out of bed. Is the bedroom. So she'll go up into the bedroom for a bit and sit up there and whatnot. But she kicks Chuck's ass all the time. And Chuck does well. Yeah, he probably minds, but he just takes it. So.
Yeah.
But they get along. Chuck and Patches get along. Chuck gets along. But yeah, so Anne's got Patches on her Shack Pets account.
Right.
And then I have Chuck and Sadie on mine. But then, so Greg, our video editor, Greg Burke, he has a cat named Sadie as well. And so it's kind of this ongoing thing between Greg and I where, he talks about, I think he put on the Shack Pets profile like the cutest Sadie or something like that. And so Anne saw that, so she made a second profile for Sadie, where she basically called that out directly about how like I'm, the other Sadie's not as cute as me or not as pretty as me or something. So there's a couple Sadies running around, and there's lots of pets named Sadie. There's a couple.
Yeah, it's a popular name, isn't it?
Apparently, which I don't feel like I got it from a popular place, so it's still kind of weird that I ended up in that spot, but okay.
What, did you not name her after the Red Dead character?
I did,
yeah,
which I don't think most people who name their pet Sadie do.
Probably not, yeah, that's probably true.
Name it Sadie. Yes, I named her after Sadie Adler. I thought that was a good name, and it fits in the sense that, my cat is an absolute terror, so.
Oh, it definitely fits. It's definitely a good name.
Yeah, it works. Sadie's she's very high energy, high intelligence animal. So, I say this a lot, but I've had all the pets I've ever had have been, rescues.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get you buy a cat, you get a mixed bag. There's like 17 breeds of cat in there somewhere.
Right.
Sadie is like 50-50 ragdoll and Siberian, and you can tell, like, you can actually pick out some of the like personality traits they call out in those breeds in her. Like, they're very pronounced. So. But yeah, so I did my challenges. I could probably get through all the votes today if I actually just sat back and voted through the whole flight. I always see Lily on there.
Yeah. I think there's 2 of her.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, because I added her and so did my girlfriend, so.
Right. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I know there's a couple different Lolas on there as well. So
right.
Lola's got a few different names. Lola being one. I'm trying to see if I can come across some of them right now as I play. Honestly, what Shack Pets Shack Pets is underrated for this. If you're buying a pet, get Shack Pets so that you can choose a name, because you're just bombarded with so many different names of pets that it's very like, oh, that's a good idea. Like,
yeah.
There's a dog on here that I'm looking at named Mango. I really dig Mango.
Mango, that's a great name.
Yeah. Whittle. Whittle's good.
So we're coming up on... So when I downloaded all the different scenery, right? So this was all very cool, by the way. I downloaded this trip from flightsim.to that somebody created. And it was created as a bush trip, which is an activity inside the simulator, but that's not how I loaded it up. I just took the flight plan and I'm flying it in this plane because I didn't want to go through the actual bush trip activity. But he had a huge list of recommended scenery files to also download for all the different regions. So I downloaded all those. That's where I spent most of the time getting them. And they're always, by region and then some airports. And we're coming up on Bilbao now, which I think was one of the airports that I downloaded the special scenery for as well. So we're not going to land here, but we are going to fly over it and then...
Now, is that
we're going to make a left turn.
Would you normally fly over an airport that seems...
Yeah, I know it seems weird, doesn't it? But you usually do, actually. But a lot of it depends on the altitudes. So that's why most airports, you don't just fly into... like to land, you don't just fly at it from whatever direction you want. There's certain specific procedures that you have to approach an airport with at certain altitudes so that other airplanes can just fly over it at safe altitudes, right?
Right.
But when you're flying visual, yeah, I mean, you have to, if you have no GPS or anything like that, you would fly up to it and then look at it, fly a specific pattern to land. So
I recall, I've only been on a plane like maybe, I've taken maybe 6 to 10 flights in my entire life. And I remember my last flight was home from E3 2018. And I recall...
That's my last flight too.
Yeah. I recall watching an airplane as we were flying. I could see it in the sky. I was on the left side of the plane and I was looking out the left window. And I could see this plane in the distance and it was above us. And I don't know how far above us. Like, your sense of distance is
yeah
in that situation. So... to me, it looked like probably like several hundred to 1,000 feet higher than us, maybe. I don't know. And it passed like literally directly over our plane. And
yeah.
It was like, in that moment, I was like, boy, that job of directing traffic is not one I would want.
It is one of the most stressful professions in the world, yeah. And I agree with the Axeman. This is a very sleek-looking airplane. Its nose is extremely pointy, and these auxiliary fuel tanks on the wings are very cool. This is definitely enhanced scenery.
Yeah, that's cool. Wonder how many people can fit in that stadium. Do we know what stadium that is?
It's probably whatever the big soccer team in Bilbao is. I know that there is a club in Bilbao. That's all I know. But it's funny, I don't know much about the city, but I recognize the name from the fact that I know a little bit, very little bit, about like Spanish soccer league teams.
So that stadium is San Mames. I'm saying it wrong. I'm certain of it.
Oops.
So I think this is the stadium. Put it in chat there. I think that's the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a capacity of 53,331.
Yeah. It's pretty decent size.
Broke ground 26 May 2010. Completed in 2014. It opened
really?
in 2013. Construction cost was 211 million euros. So there you go. I'm Sean today.
Yeah.
Alright, might as well do something.
This plane does very much look like a combat aircraft, yeah, like a military aircraft. It's not, though. It's one of the most popular small twin-engine general aviation aircraft. And this this fact is based on the loading messages, is that it is very popular and one of the most flown aircraft today, even though it the last one that was built rolled off the production line in 1980. That's the year I was born. So the youngest version of this airplane is as old as me.
That doesn't... It still compliments me.
Let me hop back in the cabin real quick. What's going on? Why can't I get back in? There we go.
You read the news today about flights.
About flights?
Yeah.
No.
You hear about the guy that opened the plane door and walked out onto the wing?
Was it? That wasn't today, was it?
Wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Like, what kind of plane?
Let me look this story up for you. I can read it to you. Guy opens.
Oh crap! I think I.
Should be in the news. Should be in the news. Okay. Yes. All right. We'll read from the New York Post, assuming they don't give me trouble for my ad blocker. Unruly passenger opens United Planes emergency exit, slides down wing. This is from May 5th, 2022 at 2:10 p.m. So that's today.
I assume this was on the ground. Because if it was in the air, it would be a whole different story.
I'm gonna read some of it.
Okay.
A passenger aboard United. Okay, never mind. I just had that content shift problem. A passenger aboard a United Airlines flight was arrested for opening an emergency door and sliding down a wing of a moving plane after it landed in Chicago early Thursday, officials said. Flight 2478 from San Diego touched down at O'Hare International Airport about 4:30 a.m. and was taxiing to the gate when a man pulled the door off and stepped onto the wing, the airline told the Post. Yeah. Our ground crew stopped the individual outside of the aircraft, and the person is now with law enforcement. The plane then arrived at the gate, and all passengers deplaned safely.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to read the whole article, but like that's just that's an elevated level of stupid.
Yeah, it's like so many things. It's not a very, for most people, flying is not a very relaxing experience at the best of times, and then most of the time humans just end up making it worse.
Yeah, that's fair. I have zero desire. Like, I mean, I have to get on a plane, this year, but within Canada is not as problematic, I would say, because you eliminate customs entirely.
This is true. Yeah, your whole experience of getting into and out of the plane and the whole navigating the airport is a lot less hassle on a domestic flight.
They're like, hey, you don't have to get permission to go into the country, which is great. So, but yeah, my appetite for flying is pretty low in terms of anything else. When I was coming back from E3, actually, when I got to the Los Angeles airport, it was like 4 in the morning or something like that, and I got to the ticket counter and they're like, you don't have a ticket, and I'm holding it. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, well, you don't? I'm like, yes, I do. And what it was that, and I'm trying to remember correctly, something to do with like when I checked in for my original flight, I went up to this kiosk and like my name wasn't right. They put my middle initial on the end of my first name, which made my first name have 3 L's. So they couldn't find me. And this lady was like, basically, like, because, she's trying to get hundreds of people through an airport.
Yeah.
And she's basically like, you have to go buy a ticket. And I'm like, no, I don't have to buy a ticket. Like, I have a ticket. And this other lady's like, here, let me take a look real quick. And dude, I thought I was gonna get like murdered in that airport, because that lady, for a time that was helping me, was the only person at the counter, and there were dozens of people, if not hundreds of people, lined up behind me that were missing their planes.
Wow.
Like, they were, because they still had to get in line and wait in line to go through customs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had, like, it was like 45 minutes. My flight wasn't for like 5 hours, so I was fine. But like, people behind me were absolutely livid, because this lady was working to try to figure out why I couldn't get on the plane, and then she would try to like check one person in and then go back to like helping me, and then like, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
like, nothing was moving. People just literally walked from the counter and went on break. It was yeah, I was like, well, I'm not getting home. So that was a bit of a that was enough for me to be like, oh, I don't like this. I do not like airports. And I also was like, you know,
see, I never used to like. I mean, I never liked that, of course, but I also did not like the actual act of flying, because I'm a bit of a control freak. I like to be in control. Like, even I'm not a good passenger in a car, so you know, obviously the level of potential influence I have in an airplane is much less than that in a car. You know, I'm the kind of guy that sits in the passenger seat in the front of the car and then phantom brakes, like with my feet. Like, I will brake, put my foot further down into the floor of the car. But I think that's changed. I mean, I haven't flown since the pandemic, and so that means I haven't flown since I started flight simming. But I feel like I would be much more relaxed and more interested even in what's going on, because now I have a feeling that I have gained some control. Yeah. It's not really control, but it's knowledge, right? Like, it's, yeah.
Now then again, if something went completely sideways, they wouldn't be able to bullshit you either, and you would just be like, "Ah!"
That's the downside. If I like looked out the window and see something that I now know would be obviously wrong, be like, well, that's not good.
Yeah.
Whereas before,
I
might not have known.
If you can see that it's a problem, it's everywhere. It's not like it's a subtle problem.
Probably.
Like, if there's smoke coming out of something, absolutely nobody needs to play Flight Simulator to be like, that's awful. Like, yeah. No, it's I don't know. It's just the whole. For me, there's a discomfort being outside of Canada. Like, I very much believe that I am the owner of Canada, and when I'm within Canada, I am in complete, like, to your point, I'm kind of in control. I know the laws around here. I know, like, how far I can go over those laws and probably get a slap on the wrist, and then you go somewhere else and it's like, oh, I gotta be good, because I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't know how things work, and I don't like that. I like the concept of always being in my backyard, if that makes any sense.
So I just realized that this entire time I have had the cabin air and the temperature control turned up, but I forgot to turn on the heater. Like, I guess there's an actual cabin heater on, off. Like, yeah. I've set the temperature, but I didn't turn the heater on. Ah, it's already going up. Cabin is cold, but warming slowly.
You could get tipped. You're not.
If I could get what?
If they could tip you, they won't.
Yeah. No, this is not what you want to hear from your pilot, where it's like, well, I turned the thing on.
But here's the thing. They can hear you.
Yeah. Let's see.
So they heard that conversation where you were like, oh, I think it's because this dummy back here's not wearing, like, proper clothing. You know? Like,
Well, they seem completely unfazed, fortunately, so.
Yeah, I don't know where they got those images from, but I would be amazed.
I was
mean,
actually, yeah, I was actually impressed, like, considering that this is obviously, I mean, they don't look as good as, you know, character models in, I don't know, any kind of Ubisoft game. But, considering it's a flight simulator, it's pretty good. They're not just cutouts.
I mean, they are, but they're well done.
But they're three-dimensional cutouts, right? Like,
Yes.
they're not just flat.
No, fair. Like, but you can tell, like, that image of that lady that that's on the right in the front, like, that's literally just like a 3D cutout. Like somewhere there's a lady having her picture taken in like Barcelona, and it's just that, and someone plucked it and put it in Flight Sim.
Donovan says when he opened his computer, this was the first thing he saw. I'm not sure if he's talking about the flight or the people in the back of the airplane.
I'm quiet, apparently. I don't know. I have earphones on the stream.
It's possible.
For all your audio equipment, I'm quiet.
Well, I don't stream frequently with other people. Let me
I don't know.
Let me step out of the cockpit for a second and turn Bill up. How's that? Like an extra 30% of Bill.
30% more Bill.
That might be too much.
Sounds like a nah, it's probably
it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
It's probably fine.
Yeah, it's good. Excellent. I can stretch. Don't tell the passengers.
They're aware.
Oh, I still want a good wireless open back headset.
I thought those didn't exist.
They don't. That's why I want one. If they did exist, I'd have one.
Yeah. So I got the SteelSeries Bungie collaboration sent to me.
SteelSeries Bungie?
Actually. Yes. So SteelSeries and Bungie got together and released a mouse, a headset, and then the desk mat.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought this was some. You know how SteelSeries is for their headsets. The known thing is the ski band, right?
Right.
I thought they did some Bungie like elastic thing. I was like, what is this? But okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're still ski banding it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Because they're all in the box stuff. But yeah, I was like, I got this. So I got the collaboration set between SteelSeries and Bungie, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 3 weeks after I got it, or more, like I just got a package in the mail, and I opened it, and I'm like, I think I have this. And I went upstairs and checked, and I'm like, yeah, I have this. So I now have a Bungie SteelSeries headset, desktop, mouse shop open here. So. But I think I might swap out all my stuff. I might actually try that. I might, like, I think I'm running, everything I'm running right now is SteelSeries, to be honest. SteelSeries keyboard, SteelSeries mouse.
Well, there's SteelSeries, the Arctis 7, the wireless one, that I have. I think you have or had at one point as well.
I've had all of them.
Yeah, as far as a wireless headset, it's probably the best one out there.
They have really good. There's actually, and this going back to, they released a headset. I think you have this one actually. Oh, maybe this is the one you're talking about. The one that had the battery.
Yes.
Where, okay.
Enough
so you
said.
could actually, yeah, the battery.
The swappable battery. That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
I gave that one to Ryan.
Yes, I remember.
And I think I regret it, to be honest, because that whole battery situation was great. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest challenges. Wireless is obviously the battery life. And with this one, it was so nice because you could just swap in another one at any time. It didn't matter. You were off for like 5 seconds.
And you literally plugged the other one into the base, which was always plugged in anyway. So it was like, you know what I mean? Like even charging it was simple. It was
because you always had one ready to go.
I think I reviewed that for Shack News, that headset, and I'm pretty sure I made mention of how like the battery was like, that's the most genius thing ever, was the battery situation there. So.
Yeah, the microphone on it is only okay, but most wireless headset microphones are only okay, and that's.
I pretty much say that in all of my headset reviews. Like, hold up, like if you're gonna talk to your buddies, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you are even thinking of doing a podcast, get a mic.
Yeah.
Like a real one. Like don't. If you're creating content, do not use the mic attached to your headset, because there is not a situation that I've ever seen where that mic is superior to whatever mic is, standalone.
Yeah, that's right.
Not to say it's not possible in certain situations, but you're getting into like high-end production quality stuff at that point.
And those are just not wireless. Like the headset I'm wearing right now, like I'm using a headset mic, but it's comparable with a standalone headset, but it is not wireless. Right? Like it's an Audio-Technica BPH S1 or something like that. I don't quite remember the order of those letters, but it's the kind of microphone that you would get like radio announcers would use when they're not in a studio or something. But yeah, it's just not wireless. That's all. When I was standing up stretching, I was like, oh, I should go in the garage and grab a beer, but I can't get that far.
Right. Yeah.
Even though I might do that anyways for a second, because, the plane's flying itself right now. I should have a look, make sure we still have enough fuel. Oh yeah, we're good. And the passenger comfort index is now at 100. The cabin is comfortable and steady. So that's all it was. I just forgot to turn on the heater.
Yeah, if you want to go get yourself a drink, that's good. I'll be here until.
But the details, it's amazing. I don't mind the stutters for this at all. Some of the detail is just knowing what the standard scenery is not bad in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Certainly better than any other flight simulator, but some of this additional stuff is great. I'll be back in two shakes.
Sounds good.
I did have it right. It's the Audio-Technica BPH-S1. I think it stands for Broadcast Phone Headset, something like that.
That's cool. I'm trying to think. I should really basically look at the SteelSeries lineup, and even not just the SteelSeries lineup, but there's a bunch of manufacturers where I think I have their last 5 or 6 headsets. And I was thinking about swapping, because as you know, I'm an old man now and my ears don't work. Or they work too well? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if maybe swapping to a different headset could be beneficial, because sometimes wearing earbuds is worse than wearing an actual headset. So
yeah, for me, it's big about comfort, right? As far as don't grip my head too tight, don't make my ears sweat too much, and sound really, really good at the same time.
Well, I'm kind of out of the whole even sounding really good at this point, because I tend not to wear a headset if at all possible.
Yeah.
And I have television speakers or everything down to where it's barely above a whisper. But I find that so I'm pretty sure it's tinnitus that I have. I have to get to a specialist to have it all checked out. But the issue I find is have you ever listened to a call, an actual conference call, and when someone is the entry and exit of someone speaking is very abrupt, it's almost like the when they stop talking, it's the sound drops off a cliff, and when they start dropping, it's spikes straight up. Does that make any sense? It's just really, it's just really aggressive. When you're listening to, if I'm listening to music right now, it's not bad because it's a consistent sound. It's my ears know what's coming, and it's a consistent sound, there's no surprises, if that makes sense. And then when I'm listening to a call or something like that, or like even being on the phone like that, the way that the audio is handled is very jarring and uncomfortable. But I also find that wearing earbuds, the quality is not great, so it tends to be worse. So I put my actual headset on for this because it's a little easier on the ears.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you got to do what is the most comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Especially for somebody who spends a lot of time in front of not just a screen, yes, but also, a lot of conference calls, a lot of chats like this that require some sort of microphone headphone situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely tell after what I would say is about a decade now of working, at a desk in front of a computer with headsets and microphones and monitors and screens all the time. Like, I can definitely tell the toll it's taken on my ears and my eyes. So I can only imagine, like, it's not going to get better. So.
I know. I actually have an optometrist appointment next week or the week after or something. In 2 weeks,
like 50% we're getting old, and 50% we should probably not look at screens as often as we do. But
yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots you can do though. I mean, you got to be good about the habits. I mean, we all know that we shouldn't be staring at the screen. Like you're supposed to look away like every so often, and nobody does that, and whatnot. So there's things you can do, but
Ooh, so we are coming up on some pretty high terrain. Just looking, the safe altitude here is actually it's like 10,000 feet. I'm just looking at where we might land here at some point. And we're gonna fly right past some mountains. Okay, this could be interesting.
There's something peaceful about flying over water, but with the land in sight.
Yeah. There's nothing more boring than just flying over open water.
Or terrifying.
Or that, yes.
But in this case, it's like I get to enjoy the water, but there's land right there.
Yeah, and it's funny, one of the things that I've realized in watching a lot of aviation videos lately is that, for the cross-Atlantic flights, for example, if you're flying from Europe somewhere to North America, at any given moment, they know exactly what the nearest airport is that is on land that they would have to turn towards, right, if there was some sort of issue. So
that's smart. Very smart. I'm just wondering at what point, like, you have to say, I find that advancement of technology is sort of, and I don't mean with like computers and phone crap like that. I mean with like flights, space travel, that kind of thing. You gotta think that, like I've been somebody that's been like, I look at Elon Musk and I'm like, I don't really like that guy at all, but I can at least acknowledge like some of the advancements that his companies have made in certain fields, space travel and flight and, whatchamacallit, electric vehicle, EV.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if someone like that with that kind of ambition sort of took on aviation, right? Like, you get kind of into a spot where, aviation's been relatively, I mean, there's advancements, of course, but the general concept of it's been very similar for a long time, I feel. Like, there's a lot of problems with aviation and, flying over an ocean that, you could probably solve. Where people are like, hey, like, is there a solution, a solution through technology where if a plane needed to land immediately and they're over the ocean, they could land in the ocean safely, I think that stuff's cool. Like
Yeah.
just the whole idea of, you know, solving really big problems that we've just kind of come to the assumption that it's just a thing that's going to be a problem forever, and someone comes along and they're like, well, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, I think we're going to climb a little bit here because there's some pretty tall mountains there that I don't think we want to be hitting. So let's see if we can get to 7,500 somehow. Make this happen. And I gotta start looking for airports here. There we go. Camileno Artanin.
On the old playoffs land there.
Doesn't give me much information about that airport, unfortunately.
I assume Dusty will be home right now watching the Stars game.
I think so. I think he said at 9, which is 7. So 22 minutes ago.
No, it just started.
Oh yeah, no, I think he said he was going to be home by 9 his time.
Oh yeah,
which
it
would
started
be 20
at 10,
minutes ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're only like 2.5 minutes into the first. So. Yep. Kind of put our Tiny Tina's Wonderland on hold for a minute because either the Leafs or the Stars are playing on opposite nights for like at least. And then I'm sure by this time next week both our teams will be out and we'll just be able to game anytime we want. So.
There you go. Way to stay positive.
Thanks. Oh man, it's a coin toss. That's the sad reality of well, not Dallas. Dallas is going to get absolutely hammered. They're gone for sure. But the sad reality for Toronto is that like you have two of the best teams in the league and one that is like championship pedigree to the bone. There's just no guarantee. It doesn't matter how good you are, right? Like it's just that team knows how to win. So it's tough. Gonna be a rough series, and it's one of these things where, as a Leaf fan base, everyone wants to like evaluate and judge the success of the franchise based on getting out of the first round this year, and I think it's stupid because, like, you're looking at like either Tampa or Toronto is not getting out of the first round. Either Florida or Washington is not getting out of the first round.
Yeah,
like,
there's none of those are teams that you would expect to leave the playoffs in the first round, but because of the matchups, someone has to.
Exactly. So it's like I look at the performance more than anything and say, like, if you can get to the end of the 7-game series and whatever it happens to be and say, wow, you know, my team played really well, but they got beat. That's fine. Like, you don't have to blow everything up there, right? Like, the Leafs are still young. The Tampa Bay Lightning are older. Stay the course and they'll age out and you'll, you know, kind of like slip in there. But I don't know, man. It's tough. It's gonna be interesting to see. I'm anxiety just from like the drop of the puck until the final whistle. So
Just definitely getting bounced around a bit more over these mountains here.
I assume that's a bigger problem than smaller planes, but
yeah.
I guess it doesn't really matter.
It's also excessively modeled in the simulator here. It's too much. Because even in some bigger planes, like, yes, there is an impact, but it seems to be a little bit over the top from what I've heard real pilots talk about, so. But it is kind of cool. It's still kind of neat. So apparently there's an airport that's not far, somewhere in these mountains here. I don't think we're not going to land there because we still got 35 minutes, but we'll have to find one reasonably soon. Okay. What's that beep? It's just an altitude alert that we're about to hit the altitude we want to be at.
Did you see the discussion that I was having with Dusty about Moon Knight?
Well, I heard him mention Moon Knight. You said, who's that? And he explained, and you said, go away.
I genuinely don't know. Like, I wasn't trolling.
No, I know.
Because I troll him a lot, right? But I genuinely was like, I don't know what a Moon Knight is.
Yeah.
Like, and that was a moment where I was like, oh, I'm definitely old, because I'm like at this
point
where
it's
the chatter of like modern cinema, and I use that term loosely around anything Marvel related.
It's also like, as far as Marvel's concerned, it's like the bottom drawer. Like, it's not, you know, Iron Man or Thor or something. It's, I mean, I'd never heard of it before either. But Dusty knows all of those things. So.
I genuinely wish that I was into, you know, that universe, because it would be like 30 movies I could just start watching right now.
I wish that, like, I was never exposed to that very much as a child, and I wish I was, because I love experiencing things that made me happy as a child now as an adult. It's great, right? It brings out your inner child again. So I imagine people who read all those comic books when they were kids, this must be an amazing feeling.
You know, that's a good way of putting it. That's probably why I don't care about it, because I didn't really ever attach myself to, like, honestly anything. Like, I don't have like a cartoon or a book or anything like that, or a story that I know from my childhood that resonates with me. Like, none. For me, it's movies, but that really didn't start till I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like there's, for example, you and I discussed this when the new Top Gun movie was announced years ago now.
Yeah, it's coming out soon.
We were just like, I don't care how bad it is. I'm just going to see it ingrained from ear to ear for like 2.5 hours, because all they're gonna do is just play that song, and they're gonna take off and go fast and fist bump, and that's all I want. I don't care. Like, it can be as cringe Tom Cruise as it wants. I just want jets. And so I guess I get it from that perspective, right? Because I don't really resonate with the Marvel stuff that much.
Mm-hmm.
Although I did watch Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home in the last week, and I like those. They were good. But I've always been a Spider-Man guy. I've always liked Spider-Man. I've liked every Spider-Man they've done, back to the Tobey Maguire and the Andrew Garfields. And,
yeah, they're all good, actually.
I really enjoyed them. And then so that was on Netflix, right? Homecoming and Far From Home. They're actually on Canadian Netflix, which was like, oh, that's cool. And then I went to watch the last one, which is, I think, No Way Home.
Right. That one's not on Netflix yet, is it?
No. And I'm like, what? And it's like, yeah, if you want this, go to Prime Video and buy it. And I'm like, So I'm going to rent that, I think, in the next couple days and catch up on that. So, if anything, that has kind of maybe been a welcoming entry point for me, where I could maybe start to like get into a few other spin-off movies in the Marvel universe. So we'll see. I really enjoyed all of the Marvel stuff that was on Netflix previously that they moved over to Disney Plus, though.
Yeah.
But it was really gritty, which is more my style, you know?
Like Punisher and...
Yeah, Jessica Jones. I really enjoyed Jessica Jones. Daredevil was good. The Avengers wasn't the Avengers. What was it? It was the... I forget what they called them. But they took basically all... They made a team out of it all.
Yeah, what was that called? I was blanking on it, too.
I'd have to look it up. Let's see. I don't think they're making any more of those, are they?
Well, not Netflix. Disney Plus, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, it'd be like I'm, kind of wondering if they're gonna bring back the whole cast or something. So.
Yeah, who knows?
Honestly, can't tell who it is. But...
So I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna see if I can do a direct to. What's going on here?
Vendors. That's what it was.
Oh, jeez. Pretender? No, let's see if I can figure out how to do this. I want to go directly to POI 35 because I'm going to try to do a little bit of a shortcut here so that we can actually reach an airport to land at.
Yeah, you got about 28 minutes.
Can I activate this leg? Let's see what will happen. I don't know about that airplane. Yeah, no.
Dusty's team is up, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and that show with all of the Marvel folks is called The Defenders.
Defenders, right, okay.
Yes.
Okay, actually, alright, so I've put it in heading mode. We're gonna try not to fly directly into those tall peaks there, but we're gonna shortcut this across here and then head back to the coast. Should save us a little bit of time because from what I can tell, our next real opportunity to actually land anywhere will be in Asturias, which is back along the coast. There's a surprising lack of small even airports around here. Surprising. Whenever you fly in North America, there's like airports everywhere.
Right. Well, to be fair, there's a lot of mountains. They don't.
Yeah.
Isn't that, like, looking around, I'm like, I can't eyeball a spot where I'm like, that looks like a good spot.
No, there's not any good spots to land here. That's very true. I think we can shoot right through this gap here. This looks safe.
You are so much more careful than I am. I'm like, dude, you got like 350 feet. You're fine. And like, if you see a mountain coming up, you can just pull back on the stick, right?
Well,
but that's why you flight simulator and I don't. Because the simulation part, that's what I don't get. I'm just like, we'll just fly up. You know, I hear you all the time. Like, whenever you're flying and I'm doing anything else, playing my own game, we're just hanging out in Discord, and you're like, "Oh, that one was rocky." I'm like, "No, it wasn't, man. You never crashed while I've been on Discord with you. Stop being dramatic. It's fine." Like,
actually, what did I do? I crashed this plane when I was testing it because I was messing around with the autopilot and it just hit a mountain and just bounced off of it though because I've had to disable the actual damage that will essentially end your flight in case of an accident because there are too many taxiways that have like a small speed bump in them that then wreck your airplane, and it's like, okay, come on.
Yeah, a little bit much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Damn, this is a nice... I don't know what kind of animals are in space. Kind of cool. So, do you want to know what Google suggested before I finish typing out what sort of animals are in Spain.
Yeah, I love that game.
What sort of animals are in space? So I have questions about people, because that's a stupid query. Okay, that's a stupid query. Like, what kind of animals are in space? Be like, you're not allowed to drive. Give me the keys. All right, let's take a peek. Animals native to Spain. We're gonna learn here. Iberian lynx. That's a cool ass looking animal. Brown bear, which I believe is very close to a grizzly, right?
I guess it's like a European version of a black bear, though. I think it's not as big as a grizzly.
This looks big.
Does it? I don't know.
Like, I've seen a lot of black bears, and this looks bigger than a black bear. Okay. It has the hump, like, the muscle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On the top by the shoulders. I love how we're Canadian and we can literally, like, we know the intricacies of grizzly bears enough to be like, oh, that one, yeah, it's like giant muscle from digging. The Eurasian beaver, the Spanish ibex, golden eagle. Oh, that's cool. Common genet? I don't know. The common genet is a slow. Oh, that's weird. It's like a cat and a raccoon and a lizard all in one. The Iberian pig. Something that looks like an eagle. Lammergeier? Pilot whale. Iberian wolf. That's the 10. Okay. Interesting stuff. Look how much space you have. You're fine. I mean, I guess the stuff on your right and left are...
This is pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess when it comes to airplanes, the whole thought process is that you want to have space in case you need to make quick...
There's not such a thing as a quick anything in an airplane usually, so you need to have as much room as you can to...
Right, that's what I'm getting at, is that if something goes wrong, you need to have the time and the space to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been getting into Destiny 2? No.
Me?
Right. Yeah.
No, I went in a couple weeks ago. For some reason, I was super bored. I don't remember what I did. I guess those Guardian games are going on, but honestly, I don't... And I guess a new season is starting this month?
May 24th, I think.
Mm.
Probably wrap up. I did hear talk of... I stopped by Ash's stream. He streams.
Oh, okay.
I stopped by his stream. He was playing a little Destiny last night. Say hi, and he asked if we had cleared the Vow of the Disciple.
Mm.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
And I was like, no. And he's like, okay, we got to get that done. So I think the plan is probably going to be to maybe try to knock out a Vow of the Disciple like next week.
Okay.
At some point. Which I would definitely be down to play for that.
Yeah, I would do that. I would like to do that raid. I mean...
Yeah. And I think I'll be honest. I do not care about Guardian games.
No, it's never been...
It's just like I'm struggling to understand like the bragging rights of like Hunter versus whatever. It's like they started the whole thing with like, hey, Warlocks or Titans or whoever got last. I think it was Titans get like a 10% bump or something like that. And it's just like you literally have to just fudge numbers to like make it close. And I get it, you know, you have to account for the fact that there's more hunters or whatever, but like my theory is it doesn't particularly matter because once one class loses a couple years in a row, they're going to adjust things so that class doesn't lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't Like, what gear am I getting? You know? Like,
yeah, well, that's the
I'm
thing.
in
There's
pursuit of, like, gear.
there's not a lot.
I think I'm gonna grind out the story stuff that I have left, and maybe some of that stuff, and try to like unlock a couple there's a couple weapons I want and stuff like that, but that I want to craft, I should say, and I need to progress the story forward from that, and I want to get the Deadeye title gilded, and then that's about it really. Like I'm just really care about the rest of it, so I'm already at max power, so there's really nothing like else for me to gain by grinding,
yeah I've had a good time playing other things. Like we had some fun with Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and
I've just we're not done
flying, and I've been doing a couple of flights on VATSIM lately, so with the real multiplayer ATC, and I'm trying to get more practice in that because I'm still very intimidated by it, and the only way around it is to do it more.
Yeah.
And I've been enjoying
that. It's
like
for Flight Simulator.
Yeah, it is. It's the end game. It's end game content.
Yeah, totally. But I feel that too. It's like I do like Destiny, but it's probably a little. I don't know if I'll ever be as intolerable to the grind as you are, because I do like grindy aspects of some games. But I've definitely faced the question of I don't know why. Like I would rather. I like the fact that I've beaten Elden Ring, and I like the fact that I've beaten Horizon Forbidden West, and the fact that we beat Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And I want to play and beat other games, and it's just not possible when you put that much time into Destiny. It just isn't possible.
Yeah, there's no time
Destiny
for
or
something else.
Yeah. But you can't have a wide range of gaming experiences. And I think it's great because there's like the Shacknews has, and I'm biased, but one of the best clans in the entire Destiny universe. Like the Destiny 2 Shacknews clan is fantastic. I can go in there any day and get help with anything. I bounce ideas off those folks for guides. I get confirmation of things that I think when I'm writing a guide. They've helped me complete countless raids. You can get folks to help you with anything. They're an absolutely fantastic clan. Most of the folks that play in that clan, I don't want to say most, but there's enough. That's all they play. You know what I mean? They don't play any other games. And that's super cool. Like, I wish that I could find my game, and I guess maybe with Flight Simulator you kind of have. But I wish I could find my game where I was just happy to just exist in that game forever.
Yeah. Sorry, I just switched my field tanks to the auxiliary tanks. I was like, I hope this works. No, but I got down to like the last 10 gallons in each tank, I think. I don't know. There were some warning lights on, so we'll see how it goes. We are the thing is, we're close to the ground. We're not flying very high. We can easily land. Okay, so here I've got a number value. So we're down to 20% on the main tanks. And now we still got 50% left on the other ones. So we got lots of fuel left. But I guess after 20%, it tosses up the caution light. So don't actually know how to reset that. I tried clicking on it, but it doesn't seem to do anything. Maybe it just stays there, so you're aware of it.
I don't think that. To be fair, I don't think you should be able to dismiss the caution light for fuel when you're off the ground. So.
Yeah, that's probably true.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where if you dismiss it, you might forget.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And then you would switch back thinking that you've got a lot of fuel in there.
As we've mentioned, airplanes don't really do things for your convenience. They do them to keep you in the air. I respect it. It's power play. You're like, I find this fuel light annoying. It's like, I don't care. This is vital to your survival, and it will blink at you until you add fuel.
Yeah, how annoying do you think it would be if you didn't have any fuel?
Yeah, like that's like airplane safety is like the one place where customer service just goes out the window and absolutely nobody cares about how you feel. It's just like, no, this is the way it is. That's it. Where's this airport?
It is still a ways off. How far away is it? Let me see if I can do some quick math.
I guess you got 15 minutes here.
Yeah, we got 15, 20. It's probably about 35 miles away.
Okay.
But it is along the coast. Yeah, it's a little ways away.
We're
I hope it's not too far.
Fast anyway, so I don't imagine it takes you that long to go 35 miles.
I don't think so. I was just trying to guesstimate this. I don't have anything telling me the actual time till we get there, but I'm also already telling the airplane to start descending.
Man, the pandemic is weird, man, because I feel like I played Microsoft Flight Simulator like a week ago, and it is getting close to 2 years ago.
Yep, it is. Yeah.
I only played it for like a month, and I stopped playing it because I had a cat that climbed all over the place, and I was like, "There's no way I can play this."
Yeah, this is true. You had some feline issues there for sure.
Yeah, and then when I was like, I might play this again, I saw your setup, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not playing this. I can't play it right.
So let's see. I can do a Lias. That's where we're going to go. I'm going to activate that leg. And we're immediately going to go and try to fix this nonsense with this ridiculous turn. We're just going to fly direct to the airport. Or at least as direct as we can. And I should try to get some information about this airport. What do we got here? Longest runway, 7,000 feet. That's great. 3 gates, 46 general aviation ramps. It's a small airport. That's good. We don't need a big airport. I would like to know about runways. Runway 11, runway 29. 29 is what we're going to use just because we're going to go fly straight in. Let's see. So there's our airport. We're going to hand fly this anyway, but let's get the airport chart. All right. Anything we should know about this? When airport is closed, pilot controlled lighting available. Oh, interesting. See, I love some of this stuff, right? Like, it's a small airport, so it's not always staffed, I guess.
Right.
But when it's closed, there's a frequency you can tune into to turn on the lights.
Well, that's handy.
Yeah. Not authorized in low visibility conditions. That's not a problem. We've got nice weather. Caution when taxiing from via taxiway Alpha from apron due to possible incursion on runway. Okay, yeah.
Now, would this be the actual document from this actual airport?
I see. It's intended for simulation purposes only, but it is from the Jeppesen company, and I think they do charts for the real airports, so I'm not sure exactly.
So it's one of those things, it's like, this is the real thing, and you absolutely cannot use it as the real thing.
Pretty much, I think that's how it is. Because there's no, because you're not paying, this is, I think, $7 a month to get access to all of these charts globally, whereas I'm sure if you were to wanted to get, like, actual charts, it would be a hell of a lot more expensive.
Right.
But these may also not be... I mean, this one is as of... Actually, it's pretty recent. It's as of November 26, 2021, effective December 2nd. Airport elevation is 414 feet, so that's always good to know. Give me some idea of how far down we have to get to actually land there safely. Thanks for following Lucid Puff. Welcome to the north coast of Spain.
It's lovely here.
It's been a really nice flight, and this plane is like, it's rock solid as far as it hasn't done anything weird other than the one thing that this autopilot always does when you try to go direct to something, but it's been very smooth.
Yeah, it's good. I've enjoyed it.
I think so have the passengers. Let's see what's their...
What do you think it is that makes
100%
games like this so appealing? Like, because I mean, at the end of the day, what you're doing is like literally work. You know?
Yeah, but I do spend a lot of time looking around and just enjoying the sounds. I find them quite soothing. Plus, I feel like I actually... Like, it's challenging in the sense that in order to do it all right, it's not that easy.
Yeah. I guess there's an aspect of chasing the perfection in things.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just also, the other thing is just, it's really cool to see. Like, when else am I going to get this view?
Well, you can take pilot lessons.
Yeah, this is a lot cheaper, even with the amount of money I spend on it.
Probably. Yeah,
and then the pilot lessons, I would fly around where I live here. I wouldn't be able to take pilot lessons in the north coast of Spain.
Well, for now, you might become a world-class pilot, and there you go.
See, this is going to be nice to fly over this city, because this is some more photogrammetry that was downloaded. But there's also, I see some smokestacks in the distance, and that is from, there's a scenery add-on called We Love VR. VFR, sorry, not VR, VFR, that includes a bunch of smokestacks and like landmarks that, if you're flying without any navigational instruments, without maps or GPS, you would actually navigate by those things, right? You look for the power plant smokestack, you look for the church steeple, you look for the soccer stadium,
Right. Oh, that's cool.
So they've added a bunch of these in to give you some more of the details. So you could try to navigate a lot of this stuff without the GPS, which is a whole nother challenge in itself that I haven't done yet. The whole method of navigating with navates that are not the GPS is a whole nother thing that I only know the basics about. There's another huge soccer stadium down there. And then there's like an old Roman Colosseum. I do love Europe like that. It's cool.
Yeah, I think that would be, after I come to visit you in BC, you're on the hook to come to Toronto, of course.
Yes.
After that, the four of us should peace out to Europe.
That'd be nice.
That's like 2 years down the road, but...
Yeah.
Like,
there's
I've always wanted to go visit a lot of the historic sites. Like, honestly, I would love to go to Ireland and check Ireland out.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also like to see like lots of the historic sites like related to like World War II and whatnot. I've always been interested in that stuff, especially like the stuff related to Canada. Like, I would love to check out the beaches and whatnot. So.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, you can just go to Paris. Once you're there, it's pretty much whatever you do is going to be memorable. So.
Not a big fan of this low-level fog over there. That's going to obscure my vision a little bit. Let's go down to 2500. Get our landing lights on. I'm gonna be really curious if I don't do like a nice smooth landing, if the passenger comfort index is going to plummet at the very end. It's been really good ever since I figured out how to turn on the heater.
Yeah. But I think you're right. If is that an airport?
No.
No, that can't be it. You're not lined
No,
up.
that's where it would be too high too. We are getting closer though. We are. We're probably about 7.5 miles away, so I do want to be lower than where I am right now. We're getting there. Aha! I do have this working. Oh, one of my controls is doing what I was hoping it would do, I think. Yes. It's changing the vertical speed without having to use the buttons in the cockpit. I can do them on my autopilot panel. The one that did not fail to start for some reason. Yeah, we do need to start slowing down a bit here though, because...
Dude, I used to just hit that shit, just whatever. I mean, to be fair, I also bounced a couple planes off the runway and took back off again. I definitely crashed a couple planes. Some of them unintentionally. Well, all unintentionally, but like some of them, you know, like I was actually trying to land with no idea what I needed to do. I was like, well, the airport's over there. I should just like slow down and go get lower. And then there was my most infamous crash was flying a jumbo jet from Pearson to Detroit and not actually knowing where. See, I didn't know how to set up a flight plan even in Flight Simulator. Like, you could actually do that in the game, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to do that, so like when I got to a city, I just had to eyeball the airport. And instead of like being the responsible person of like, wow, there it is, but I'm way too high and too close, I would just be like, yeah, let's just fly down there and see if we can land it.
Yeah.
And it didn't work at all.
I don't know what it's actually squawking about at the moment. There we go. Oh, I see. RPM was a bit too low. Okay. Well, we are coming up on this pretty quick. So we'll see if we can wrangle it here. Wow, these lights are like on fences. Cool. Do you see? I don't know if you could. That comes across well in the stream or not, but that is crazy.
Is that a fence or?
No, they're light posts that are like on,
yeah,
they're poles, but because there is a valley there. That's cool.
Just one more thing for you to hit, dude.
Yeah. Well, we kind of did all right. We're not anywhere near the center line here, but
I don't think it. Well,
it's all right.
You might get dinged for that, eh?
Let's see. Nope. They did not seem to mind.
No, they don't mind, but someone at the airport might.
Oh well,
send a strongly worded email. Wouldn't that be amazing if Flight Simulator, like, you actually got emails from like different airports and stuff like that, just like critiquing the dumb shit that you did while you were flying? Like,
I will say we are right on time. It is literally 8:01. So, and considering that I just made this up on the
isn't as punctual as you are.
Yeah, and they have a schedule. I just made this up.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know where we are or why we're here.
That's true, but we are here. We got somewhere on time.
Basically, everyone in the plane besides you is like, I don't know where we are or what we're doing here, and you're like, right, but my shift's over and we're here. So I don't know where you're going, but I'm leaving.
If you show up to the airplane next week on Thursday at 6 o'clock, we can continue the flight. You can keep going wherever you want it to go.
Someone will eventually fly out of this. And again, you're at this tiny airport. There might not even be people here. They're just like 4 strangers standing outside with their luggage, just like calling an Uber for like $700.
Exactly.
700 euros. My bad.
So get all the things shut off. Everything turned off. Oh, and this, okay, so because this is my plane, right? I own it, so now I should probably just make sure. Let's get the passengers out. Get all the covers and stuff on. Let me just make sure that I reset things properly. So it's on the auxiliary fuel tank. I should probably switch that back to the main just for next flight, because otherwise that's going to trip me up for sure.
Yeah, that sounds like...
Because it's going to remember where I left it, right? So if I don't leave it in a decent place, for example, we should turn the cabin heater off. Turn all this down. I think that already went back to where it's supposed to be. So I think we're good with everything else. We can do a quick outside inspection to see how things are looking. Okay, everything is still good. That oil supply in the right engine is still low. We'll have to do something about that sometime. But we won't worry about that for now. We'll worry about that next time. Thanks for joining me, Bill. It was fun to have somebody to chat with throughout the entire flight.
No problem. Yeah, we'll see what you're doing next week. Maybe we'll sneak in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands if we're still playing that, or maybe I'll join you for another leg of a flight. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. We'll figure it out. Just make sure that you subscribe, follow, or throw us a Prime sub if you've got one of those. And be sure to, I keep telling people, go to shackpets.com, download that app, because it's so, there's really nothing else like it. So, and of course it's free. So, thank you everybody for joining me. I'll see you again next week on Shack Stream. Take care of yourselves.